up, everybody? It's your man, Nicholas Wildstar, aka the Governor, here back on the black side of liberty. I truly appreciate each and every one of you out there watching that are joining into the program because I have an extraordinarily special guest who I'm very happy to introduce to you. But first, of course, you guys know what to do. Please connect with me if you haven't already out there on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff right there at the bottom of your screen. You can see it there. Just connect with me at Governor Wildstar on social media. And yeah, please stay connected so we can, of course, bring back liberty. You know what it's all about. I am declared as a candidate for the 2022 gubernatorial election here in California. So wherever you are in the world, I would appreciate your support simply by connecting with me, helping spread the word, and doing whatever you can to help support the little guy here, because we got to come together as a community to represent each other versus letting the establishment represent us. That's what this is all about, us standing up and speaking up for ourselves, right? speaking up for ourselves, my guest who I'm going to introduce to you is very outspoken, just like yours truly. So I'm happy to introduce him to you. His name is Derrick Gibson, and he's running for governor of New York. Brother Derrick Gibson, welcome to the Black Side of Liberty.
Well, good evening. I am honored and elated to be on the broadcast tonight. I am sorry. I apologize. I should have been on an hour earlier, but my flight got delayed. I was flying out of town, and the flight got delayed. So I just landed in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am driving at the moment heading to my destination. But once again, I apologize, but we are here.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you for being here because as a candidate myself, I know how stressful and tedious being on the campaign trail can be. And I know your time is very limited. So I appreciate you for carving a little bit of time out of that busy schedule to speak with me and my audience. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, but I owe that to the general public. We are seeking office. We got to make ourselves available all different times, and I try to make myself available to everyone that I can because I'm seeking public office. The days of hiding from people is over. For instance, in Ottawa, you see what's going up there in Canada. The prime minister is hiding from
Right.
the president or whatever because hiding from the people. We don't need that anymore. We don't need trickling down to America. I'm just fed up with it, so I try to make myself available as much as I can as possible.
That's incredible of you because that's another thing about, candidates is they only tend to focus on the mainstream media outlets, ignoring some of the smaller broadcasters. And like I said, I appreciate you taking advantage of the independent media stage by coming on to my show. So I actually do this sporadically. So I'm very glad that you joined me because I'm actually just now kicking off Black Side of Liberty for Black History Month. I've been on hiatus for a few months, and you're my first guest. So I'm very appreciative for you being here. And TJ Shelton,
Likewise.
one of our viewers, says thanks for coming on as well. And one of our viewers, Kill a Real Nigga, said,
Uh-oh.
nothing but good news. He's happy to be here as well. So again, thank you. And so we can get a little bit more of a background about you. And of course, so you can introduce yourself. If you wouldn't mind just telling everybody out there a bit more about who is Derrick Gibson.
Well, Derrick Gibson is who Derrick Gibson is, a working man. That's exactly who I am. But to
All right.
give you a little background on me, I was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Later, we moved to the Georgia area with my mom. Moved to Georgia. The crime rate was high in New York City where we live, so people started bailing out like they are doing now. So I was raised in the South. I'm sure you can hear the Southern accent, and I graduated high school here, and I went off to college, to technical college, and I got me a degree in automotive technology, where I left there, and I did very well in being a successful business person in automotive transmission. I majored in automotive transmission, and I opened my shops up after working for a few dealerships around the block. I decided to open my own business up and do things on my own. I served in the state guard of Georgia for a while, I think for about a little over 2 years. And then I decided to move to Florida. I moved to Florida for 6 months, but the heat ran me away from Florida. I can't stand the heat. So I decided to move back to New York. I moved back to New York City, and I began to look at what was going on in my state and in my city. And I decided then that I was going to run for office and make a change, bring a change to the state of New York, bring common sense policies back that I didn't see much of in the state of New York. So that is where it landed me at today. But yes, my background, fish hunt. I'm a big pro Second Amendment guy. I'm pro life. I'm pro business, etc. Anything that comes along on the pro side, that is something should be not even second nature to a person. That is me. So I'm fighting daily to bring common sense policies back to the state of New York. I think most people that don't even live in the state of New York know what a disaster the state is and how we are tumbling downhill quickly.
Absolutely. It seems like the whole entire country from coast to coast seems to be being flushed down the drain, literally, by the elected officials that are in control of the public policies that are, of course, dictating everyone's lives, you know? Of course, California and New York is two different beasts, and I'm sure they have their own set of issues. So, what is it? What are the main issues in New York that you feel like need to be addressed immediately? Let's just say three in particular.
Right. So I would say the mandates must go. That's number one. It must go. That is completely destroying the state of New York. It's destroying our small business, and it's destroying our children and schools wearing masks for 8 hours a day and so forth. Number two, crime. Crime is out of control. It makes absolutely no sense. We had this so-called bail reform where we was promised
Hmm.
violent criminals wouldn't be eligible for, and that's the first thing they let out was violent criminals. So those issues must be dealt with and dealt with right away. And number three, I would say on the list, the economy. The economy is staggering, and without getting crime under control, releasing the mandates, we're going to continue to decline, and New York's going to fall into bankruptcy, which I think is in bankruptcy already, but it's not saying that it's in bank bankruptcy. So those are three issues I must tackle immediately, right away. And there's several more issues following that that's very important also. But without your liberty, without your freedom, you have nothing. So those are the first issues that I will be tackling.
Absolutely. And those, I believe, would be priority for the majority in the people of the state. Like you said, there's always little nuances and other issues that people feel like are important to them. But just overall, those are issues that, if they were to be rectified, would definitely be beneficial to the majority of the people in the state. So I do have a question for one of the viewers saying, with regards to how you plan on approaching crime. What is it exactly that you have in mind to do to curb the amount of uh, the increase in crime activity out there?
So on crime, the first thing I would do, I will untie the police and state police. I work with the mayor of New York City. The man he untied their hands so they can do the job that they were hired to do, and that's enforce our laws that's on the boat. I will also work with the state guard. I will summon the state guard and let them work along with our police officers to bring the crime under control. I will put the pressure on the legislator, and also the prison system that they are closing must be opened back up because people feel they can do criminality and there's no punishment for it. So those are the first things to do is bring the state guard in with the law enforcement and crack down on crime completely, zero tolerance. There's no way I will let crime run rampant like it is now in the state of New York, in the city of New York. and it's no consequences for it. This is the problem. So the bail reform must be reversed. We must untie police hands so police can do their jobs. This is why crime is out of control. In New York, you can harass the police, spit on the police, dump water on the police, resist arrest, and we can't arrest them. So this is something that's got to be reversed
Really?
and reversed quick. Yeah, that's correct. We got to reverse this quickly. Now I know people say, well, law enforcement, cops, this and that, because they went along with the Black Lives Matter ridiculous claims about all cops are bad, but they are not. And I had a meeting with the Black Lives Matter guy in the state of New York, and I sat down and I talked to him. We had a pretty good conversation. And I said, when it comes to that, I said, y'all are wrong. You are erring. I said, if you have a problem with the justice system, which I myself had, and I worked in the justice system, I myself have an issue with it because it's not just. I understand that, but you can't take it out on law enforcement. You go to your state legislator and protest them and run for office, become a state legislator, become a state senator, become a assembly person, and you can change the unjust law. This is what's got to be worked on. Once I get crime under control, then we can change the unjust laws, and we can reverse bail reform so no violent criminal will be able to get out just by getting a ticket and then come back to court. As you know, the return rate, recidivism rate is about, I would say, 5 or 6%, if not higher than that now. That is what's going on. So they get out, they commit more crimes, even with murder. They'll get out on bond, or without bond, and they get out and they commit another murder. They'll commit another carjacking. They commit another robbery or rape or assault. These are things that can't go. And what is happening, the current leadership is governing according to skin color. So they feel if you're a minority, that the system have been unjust to you, and the system have been unjust, but it's no excuse for you to go out and commit crime, destroy community, other people's properties and neighborhoods. So way to fix that without doing that. But I'm not racist, but I call things out as I see them. The white leadership is too weak to stand up and do this because they feel they're going to be called a racist. Now, I got called a racist early in the week by one of the similar women from wherever she's from, Taiwan. When I said go back to China, I meant exactly what I said because I looked down her timeline and the communists. So I meant go back to exactly what I said. And, Yahoo wrote the story on me and tried to make a big thing out of it. I killed her. I faced it head on and I killed that story. And she took her Twitter down because there's nothing she could do. I was like, I'm a black man, call me a racist. Go ahead. And I'm going to embrace it as long as you call me Mr. Racist. If loving America, yeah, right. If loving America, it means that I want safety and I want prosperity in my country. I don't want so-called socialism or communists. So that's not going to work on me on blue black. So call me racist all day. I'm going to continue to fight for what is right and what is right for my citizens.
So I do want to talk about that latest controversy that you ended up encountering. But first, there was a question here talking about what do you feel is the cause of crime? And you did allude to that a little bit by saying, weak leadership, the policies, the, bail reform, et cetera. But when it boils down to it, don't you think that I guess law enforcers, I never heard of, them being spit on. If anything, I would think that's assault of a police officer, and that still would be an arrestable offense. But with police officers feeling like their hands are tied in order for them to enforce the law, and with you promoting yourself as being one of those candidates who wants to be tough on crime, do you feel like there needs to be any criminal justice reform at all, or do you feel as if the lack of laws is creating more crime?
No, we need criminal justice reform. The criminal justice system, like I said from the beginning, is shot. It is not fair. It's very unjust. But the way they're doing it is not the way to fix it. That's not the way to reform. We have to train our officers. We have to elect the right people to make these laws that is going to be equal to everyone. The justice system is upside down. It does not favor minorities at all. It does not favor poor whites at all. If you have money, then of course you can work yourself way through the justice system and get a different outcome. But yes, the criminal justice system needs to be overhauled because it's totally unfair. And as you know, I'm a criminal justice major, and I got some things I want to do to overhaul that system and bring fairness to the people that was done wrong. And I go even farther than that. As governor, I will pardon those people. I will look at their cases. I will have a commission to go look at those cases, and they will be pardoned for the things that they was arrested and tried for and unjustly accused of doing. So these are the things that I would do in the state of New York. But for as crime itself, like you said, I covered the crime. Crime is no excuse if you're poor. If you go in the store and steal some food and you're hungry, I understand that. When you get on your feet, go back and pay double, triple. That's what you do. I can understand that. If I'm hungry, I'm homeless, I gotta eat. Nobody's having me go in the store and you grab a cake, a candy bar, or whatever, eat it. I mean, I'm not. That's out. That's not really a crime. That's not
Right.
yeah. So the
But
system
there's
got to
tons
be
of
over.
misdemeanor laws that have led to personal injuries or even deaths of New Yorkers. Let's say, for instance, in the case with Eric Garner, where he was caught, I guess, selling loose cigarettes and then
Right.
strangled to death by a police officer. So with incidents like that, and then also with New York having stop and frisk laws, seatbelt
Well, let,
laws,
let, let
all
me
sorts
let
of.
me let me let me chime in right there. Stop and frisk is never going away because it's constitution. It's never going. No matter what they say, you still gonna stop and frisk. As an officer, I'm not gonna stop you for something and let you walk up on me. I don't know where you got to go now. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna check. So that is stop and frisk. But you were saying about what else? You was mentioning something else that I wanted to cover on also because.
The Eric Garner murder.
Yeah, Eric Garner out in Staten Island. Yeah. I used to get my hair cut right there. Is this the pump out? No. I used to get my hair cut right there about where he got the police hurt him. And that was totally unreal, unjust, uncalled for selling loose cigarettes. Come on, man. And the man had to
Right.
lose his life. That makes absolutely no sense. So this is the thing that I say we need training for a police officer. We need to hire better police officers. We need to hire officers from the particular community that knows the people. These things don't happen. Yes, that's something that the police did. They was 100% wrong for doing that. And anybody wrong, I'm going to call you out regardless. It
That's
makes no
good.
difference to me. Yeah.
It also sounds as if you also are taking the stance that you have no problem with looking at those unnecessary laws, such as, loose cigarettes or, somebody petty theft or
Right.
something like that, and
Right.
reforming it to where people won't have to end up with being confronted with police officers because of that, or more so having to deal with an economic or issue. But
Right.
also with drug reform, cannabis, marijuana is something that's being widely accepted as public use across the country. I'm not sure what the cannabis
Well,
laws out there out in New York,
well,
but
in New York, we ignore that too. You're told to ignore. They stand in the subway saying they smoke weed, they do whatever they want to do, they smoke crack. I do not agree with that. We cannot have that in public. We cannot have that around our children. That is not a good look for this city and nothing else. And not only that, it brings crime. You have people standing in the subway selling drugs. All types of things is going on. So I don't agree with that. Cannabis, smoking your little pot in your home, do what you do. That's you if you want to smoke your weed. I don't entertain drugs because it alters your mind, and I don't recommend anyone else do it unless it's for medical purposes and they need it. So this I would not tolerate because in New York City right now, I walk and I see people smoking crack, smoking weed. I mean, it's ridiculous. I have my children, other small children around. That's not a good look for any city. We're appeasing criminals. That must stop. That is a crime doing it. If you want to do that, do it in your home. Do not do it. Now make it okay to do in the public.
well, I would say, if anything, when it comes to someone's personal choice, whether it be marijuana or alcohol or cigarettes, even, them as an adult being able to have that choice to consume whatever they want to be left up to them. But when it comes to decriminalizing how police officers are enforcing those laws, do you think that by removing the stigma around someone's personal choice and use of a substance would potentially open up an avenue for the free market? Let's like, for instance, in cannabis here in California, it's been legal since 2011, I believe, or even before, and that created the opportunity for businesses to be developed. So, of course, while you may have your local weed man, you also have weed dispensaries that are actual operational businesses that are paying taxes, that are employing people. It's a greater benefit to the community and to society opposed to maybe that one time, single drug dealer.
Right, but everything is not about a dollar. Everything is not make to be made into a business. Now, if it's made into a business, all well and fine. Like I said, I wouldn't have my post. I was cracking down on nobody just for having a little weed. That's something that would be ignored. But what I would encourage as governor, whatever you do, you go home and do it. If you're gonna drink alcohol, I don't want you out in the street drinking alcohol, driving cars. Just fine. It cause all kind of problem, accident. It causes too many problems. What you do at home is what you do at home, and it should stay at home. We have a young people out that is coming up. They do not need to see this stuff. They do not need to say, "Oh, it's cool to do this," and alter their brain while their brain is being developed. It makes absolutely no sense. So, on the weed issue, yeah, smoke it at home all day. I don't care nothing about that. It's natural. Natural weed from the house. Smoke away. That's you.
Well,
I
that's
don't
what
have
I'm
a problem
saying
with it.
about as
Take that
far
out.
as government policy and this prohibition.
Right.
When they did the same thing with alcohol, it created a
Right.
black market, and more
Right.
gang activity.
Right.
And that is what created more so of a threat
Right. And you're right. And you're
around
right.
alcohol use,
If you
opposed to when they
legalize it,
legalized it. And now
right.
you can go buy alcohol at the store, and you still have people that sit out there drinking publicly. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Make an ass out of themselves, or whatever the
Right.
case may be. But when it comes to prosecution again of someone's personal choice, uh, that element has been relaxed, so there's
Right.
less criminality involved. You
Right.
know,
I understand. I understand where you're at, and I understand where you're going, but I do not want to see people in the street sitting on the public places drinking alcohol, doing none of that, even though you see it. I would have my law enforcement to encourage people to take this home, not to say I'm going to lock you up, I'm going to give you a ticket, but you need to take this home. If I come back around and you sitting there drinking, I don't need that in public. It's not a good look in the public at all because everybody don't consume alcohol, drugs. They don't consume that, and it shouldn't be done. Well, like once again, what you do in your bedroom is you. Like someone asked me, talking about, well, homosexuality. This now it's like I'm not God. That's between you and God. What you do in your bedroom is between you and God. If you want abortion, that's between you and God. But one thing I will do, especially about abortion, I will remove the taxpayers' funding from abortion,
hmm
but not make abortion illegal. If you choose to do that, I feel like it's murder. That's what I feel is murder. If you choose to do that, I think the decision between you and your doctors what you do is fine, but you pay for it. Don't have the people that don't believe in that to pay for it. So that's another thing on my agenda is to cut the funding from Planned Parenthood that basically have killed our black community. We do so many abortions in America. Our population is 12.8. It dropped. It used to be 13, maybe 5 or something, because we do abortions, and the agenda is on homosexuality, encourage men to be homosexual so they can't or they won't reproduce any more black children. There's a lot going on behind the scene that I know is getting rid of our black American traditional community. And I don't agree with those things. The abortion mill, uh, homosexuality. If you want to deal with a man, hey, deal with a man. That's between you and him, but don't push it into the school system. And the school system teaching that in schools. I don't like that. That shouldn't be in the public. But I have
yeah,
nothing against
especially
you
if
if you want to do that.
taxpayers Yeah, especially if taxpayers are, funding public schooling and aren't having an opportunity to have a say so in what the
Right.
curriculum is. So,
Right.
I do want to move along. I don't want to spend too much time on that because we got a lot to talking about. And I did want to circle back to that incident that you had with this California, or pardon me, New York lawmaker, because essentially you had made a statement about this lawmaker. Would you mind, I guess, giving a little bit of a background and telling about the story itself so we can kind of get your position on it, on things?
Yeah, I will. What I do daily, I look at I've elected assembly people, and I look at their statements they put out. I look at their policies, and I challenge them on that, because New York is going down here because we are a sanctuary city, and most of these people are coming illegally across the board, and they're allowed to get in our government. They're allowed to serve in there, and they bring those ideals to America. So after I read her policies about socialism and how she was speaking against the police for merely not wearing a mask after the funeral, on the train where the crime rate is out of control, and you felt like you had to pick on them for not wearing a mask. So I didn't take kindly to that. And I went down the timeline and I challenged her. And I said, I said, you need to go back to China. This is what I said, go back to China. So some people took it the wrong way, but I said go back to China because she had communist policies, not the way she looked, because I never looked at how she looked. I just read that statement. And I put up there, and now called me a racist. So she called me a racist, got all her goons out there attacking me everywhere. And so I went back at all of them and shut them down. I was like, call me Mr. Racist, because if you bring these policies here, this is America. This is a free country. You want to put your laws out, your thoughts out, like this is a communist country. Therefore, you belong in China. This is what I said in my statement, and that is what I meant. I doubled down on it, and they just left me alone after I doubled down, told them to call me Mr. Racist. Because if I love this country and you say I'm racist for loving this country, then I will embrace the racism. I am Mr. Racist. So I'm going to call you out. If you govern like a communist, I'm going to tell you to go back to China. Not even to Russia, because Russia's not that bad compared to China. So I'm going to send you back to China. So I found out later she happened to be a Taiwanese lady from Taiwan, which I was like, I don't care. I ain't know nothing about that. I don't care where she's from. I don't care where she's from. It had nothing to do with it.
Let me ask you a question about that, because I actually have the tweet here as well as the entire article. But it says go back to China. Now you just admitted she's Taiwanese, so
she admitted that.
Technically, it would be go back to Taiwan, but let's just focus on the statement itself, going back to China. And as a black man, I'm pretty sure you've probably encountered during your life, or may not, I don't know for sure, but people that have said to you, based on a certain position that you may, or a certain opinion that you may have, to either go back to Africa. And that's something that black people have been told time and time again by others who feel as if we're not being as American as they should, as they think. So we'll be told, go back to Africa, even though we were born and raised in America, like this lawmaker who is Taiwanese American. So when it comes to just that saying in itself, do you feel like that was maybe racially insensitive, seeing as you are a black man?
To be honest with you, I don't care. If you feel like it's racially insensitive, oh well, because you govern like a communist. You come in here and you bring in those same thoughts. I don't care where you from, Russia, Cuba, Venezuela, wherever the hell you come from. If you're doing that, you need to go to China. Taiwan is not a communist place. China is. So you fit in China. If you want to govern like that, you fit in China, not the USA. And I done said this to Black Lives Matter and everybody else, go back to China. This is not the first people I done said it to. I don't care nothing about color, nothing about your ethnicity, where you came from. Go back to China. I don't have any feelings. I walk home. They're in the bottom of my shoe. I walk home. I've been told go back to Africa. Her people told me that all kinds of stuff. I was like, I'm not from Africa, but you came here across that border from wherever you came from, and you brought these governing policies. This is my country. I fight for it not to be communism here. So if you want to come here and bring those ideals, go back to China, regardless of where you're from. China now. I told Mayor Eric Adams the same thing. Hey man, you need to take it to China. We don't have this here. I call them all out. It's nothing to do with color. It's nothing to do with race. People need to stop being so damn soft and face up to it. Well, this man, she know what I was talking about. She wanted to put it out there. And it may work on white men. When they call them a racist, they'll shut up and be quiet. Not me. I double down. And I accept that, yeah, I'm a racist then. I'm not white. And you're not going to run me, make me be quiet because I'm telling the truth. By you calling me a racist. The race card been played out. I do not play that. the race card gone. And call me a racist, I'm gonna accept it. She may as well accept it. And she did, I assume, because she took her Twitter account down. So I'm assuming she accepted that. She's a communist. That is what she is. And I will forever, as governor, I will stand in the governor's mansion and point out all the communists that is in leadership position in the state of New York. I fear none.
Well, I completely agree with you when it comes to communistic and socialist, policies, or ways to deal with public matters. I don't really feel like government should have control over that. I think it should be left up to the people. And when it comes to business decisions, or the way businesses operate, that should be left up to the free market. Government should not be involved in that either. So I completely agree with you there about getting less government out of these areas in society where they don't belong. But one thing that you did say was about Black Lives Matter, and I did want to talk about that too, because you are running as a Republican, and there is a certain, I guess, opinion and talking points within the Republican Party where they look at Black Lives Matter and people on the left as socialists, and they aren't really willing to sit down at the table and see where they are, mentally, to see if, or better yet, just to even talk with them and see if there's some common ground where we can come up with some solutions. Have you made any attempts to do that yourself, or has it simply been just because they see you as a Republican and someone that's not on their team, that they're not even willing to maybe even talk to you?
Right, and that goes on a lot. And I did speak with the Black Lives Matter lead. I spoke with him, like I was saying earlier. But a lot of people, oh, you're a Republican? Oh, I said, what that have to do with anything? Listen to my platform. Listen to my ideals. Forget the title. I said, I'm a Republican, not a non-establishment Republican, and I'm for truth. I'm for fairness. This is what I'm for. I'm for the things that you actually claim you want. It's justice and fairness, but you don't want to listen because I had a title Republican, because they're not familiar with the history. All blacks used to be Republican before Johnson tricked them out of being a Republican. The Democrats, all them in '64, voted against the Civil Rights Act. Democrats 54 voted against it when it came up. I mean, these things is need to be known throughout our community. Democrats hold us down. They've been holding us down for years and years. And no, they don't want to have a conversation with the other side at all, because they know it will uplift, especially the Black community. If you take a moment and see what President Donald Trump was doing for the Black community, you would be like in awe, because he was doing so much for the Black community with Opportunity Zone, with the Black colleges. There's a lot out there that the media covered up. And he was getting us opportunities to rise, and we was. And the white liberals did not like that, because they wanted to keep the control over the Black person. They want to think for you, tell you what to do, all the while saying that they love you. And mind you, they come in your community and buy your property for nothing, fix it up, get the money and fix it up, and you can't live there anymore. And the first thing you see, like in Atlanta, when I travel around, is Black Lives Matter signs in the yard. What used to be a whole Black community, now it's an all white community with Black Lives Matter sign. I mean, it's ridiculous, it's scandalous, and I despise any white person wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt, got a Black Lives Matter sign in their yard, because I know they're the enemy of the Black person. The only thing they're about is for using you to push a radical agenda so they can succeed. You are not going to succeed. Once they get through using you like the DA in Maryland, Baltimore, now she's getting ready to go to jail. They throw you under the bus. Oh, I can't use you anymore. They throw you under the bus. This is what happened. We letting people use us, yoke us, do whatever, and we don't see it, because our community is easily manipulated, and we may as well face it. We are a easily manipulated community.
Oh yeah, the Black Lives Matter movement recently has been in the news for basically squandering the amount of donations that they've received, whether it be the California chapter or New York or all across the country. They seem to be facing some bit of investigation as far as the national organization. So from my experiences in meeting Black Lives Matter demonstrators and organizers, is that there's a big difference and separation between the national committee and the boots on the ground activists. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So because of that,
Right. Right.
the boots on the ground activists, the people that are out there marching, protesting, they don't really know or care about the national members' position on policies and Marxism and all of that stuff. So a lot of them are completely oblivious to it. But like you said, to the to the opposition, people on the other side of that, they're seeing them collectively as being, part of the whole. So do you attempt to make that distinction where, let's say, like you said, you see a white person with a Black Lives Matter shirt, that they're more supporting that, hey, there needs to be less reduction of police abuse in the Black community versus, a promotion of Marxist policies? Because I get confused for that as well. When I go out to Black Lives Matter events, I'm a Black man, and I'm a capitalist, a free market capitalist, but I get coupled
Right.
in with the socialists. And then I go to Republic events and I talk about my experiences with them, and then they look at me like I'm a leftist. So it's a lot of um, miscommunication there, you know?
Right.
Do you
Right.
think that that has a lot to do with the way that we're engaging with each other, since we can't just sit down at the table and come to a mutual understanding?
Right, right, right. And you're right. I agree with you on that line. But what we got to do, we got to find some type of way to come to the table, like I did in New York, sit down, and we got to talk to each other in a civilized way, besides the yelling and
Mm,
labeling each other where you this, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat. This is what is holding the community back, because we're playing games with ourselves, amongst ourselves, instead of saying everybody's entitled to a different opinion. Let's sit down and see, can we find middle ground somewhere? And that is not happening. So you're right, 100%. We must come together on those particular topics. And I'm working at this particular time trying to bring everybody together. I do, a lot of Democrats, a lot of liberals agree with the things that I say and do, but we got to work harder and just continue to go on.
absolutely. And we were talking about the economy. I did get asked a question here, and I kind of want to incorporate that, because when we talk about the socialist policies of the left, the Democrats that are in control of, our government body, whether it be in New York or in California, they tend to implement those socialist policies, and then all of the people in the state suffer from it, and especially the taxpayers. So, is there a particular economic philosophy that you support, like free market capitalism or uh, government interference? I mean, what is your point of view with regards to how our economy should be controlled?
Well, I support the free market. I always have. I'm a businessman, business owner. My wife's a business owner, and we support the capitalist society. It's nothing better in the world. And what we have got to do is, excuse me, that one moment.
No
Trying to get
problem.
this phone plugged up. What we got to do is embrace the capitalist society. Has worked very well, but what we must do is make stuff equal for all communities so we can benefit from it. Also, we must, when I say that, I mean all these regulations in places that holds you back from being successful must be gone, must be cut, and to have plans for the state of New York to do just that, to remove the regulations and have less government interference, so everybody can actually benefit from capitalism, like we have from the last 200 some years. It's not a better system in the world. People look at where they're gonna give me free Medicare, they're gonna give me free schooling, free this and free that. It's not gonna make you any better. Those things is not gonna encourage you to uplift yourself and make yourself wealthy at some point, so you can strive in this capitalist society. I know BLM say it's a Marxist and
They'd rather have communists or socialism, which socialism is just a pretty name for communists. That's all. I work all day and they take my money and distribute it to you because you're too lazy to work. That's it's communism. And once all the money run out from the working people, then where you gonna go to get the money? The only people gonna have money is the money at the top. Then the so-called presidents and prime ministers. That's who's gonna have the money when the other people's money run out. Eventually, it's gonna run out. Eventually, people's eyes gonna open. They're gonna see that they are taking too much from me. President Trump was in there. He dropped the corporate tax rate. This man in there now, I don't even call him president, I call him resident. Everything Trump did, he's undoing that was beneficial for America, which is build back backwards. That is my term that I use. We can't do that. We are, and just the communists in New York that I had the little spat with, she was saying we need to raise taxes on the big corporations, the business owner. I was like, if you raise taxes on the corporation and business owner, they create so many jobs. Who do you think is going to hurt? It's going to hurt the people. It's going to hurt your prices in the stores for the goods. It's going to kill your tax base. I see it like this. I'm a business owner. If you give me a break, I don't have to double those taxes like I do. I'm going to hire more people to get more production, therefore create more taxpayers for my state. If these leaders start being good stewards of the taxpayers' money, we won't have absolutely no problem. We won't need $218 budgets that we have in the state of New York right now. And we have that because we have over 1 million illegal aliens there we are taking care of. I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on in my state, and I'm sad and fed up with it because as a black man, my ancestors, along with the white man, built this country. And what we are doing with their work is we giving it to people that have come across the border, the so-called people of color that is coming across the border. That is a no-no. I know you know because California is full of them over there. And they have hijacked the Dr. King's civil rights movement. Now it belongs to people coming from across the border, so-called people of color. It belongs to the LGBT community. All of that has been hijacked from what it was originally meant for, and that was for you and I, the black American people, to get our civil rights. So I'm very disappointed in our community. I'm very disappointed in the nation's government. The only somebody I saw was trying to do halfway right by, at least by everybody, was President Trump. He gave several opportunities for us to uplift ourselves under him. My cousin worked for President Trump, Dr. Carson, as my cousin worked in administration, and people told him now simply for working for President Trump, instead of being half a black man, have been elevated to that position. We tear each other down just because maybe he's a Republican or maybe because he's with Trump. Like I said, the black colleges, Trump made it so they won't have to keep coming back every year begging for money. They didn't like that. Joe Biden rescinded that. I mean, it's nonsense, and black people clap for those things. I don't get it. I will never get it, but I will continue to fight for this country. I will continue to fight for my black community so we have equal justice for
I do
all.
want to.
And it's no, one more. I hear basketball players, football players with millions of dollars talking about they are oppressed. That's a damn lie. They are working for the white liberals saying they are oppressed. You got $1 million homes, cars, whatever, and you saying you are oppressed. And you telling
Those
black
guys got
people,
way too much
you
money.
being you're unequal, you're oppressed, and you can't do this and that. So you stepping on your own community, you incarcerating their mind. You put their mind in jail saying that you can't do this because this is America. That is the garbage and the nonsense that need to be kicked out of the black community. I'm sick of tired of everybody's trampling on us, and I'm tired of the trampling upon.
I want to shift to the other side of this and kind of approach this as if a liberal would. I consider myself more so to be a liberal in a classical sense, and the same with respect to conservatism, because realistically, across the board, they're all neocons. Whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, a liberal or a conservative, they're all neocons. They could care less
Right.
about the conservatism. They could care less about our freedoms when it comes to being a liberal. But when um, when conservatives come to speak with liberals, they look at all of what they're proposing, like you said, wanting to have free college or free health care or whatever the case may be, those handouts. that's also reflective on the other side of the table. Like you just said, President Trump gave handouts to black colleges. So when you talk about these political officials, whether it be Republican or Democrat, Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, whatever the case may be, they're still taking that position where they feel like our money, taxpayers' money, needs to be taken from us, and then that wealth needs to be redistributed. They're just choosing, their group of special interests versus the other group of special interests. So since you said you're more supportive of free market capitalism, do you think that as governor of New York, you would still take that approach where, as a Republican, you would take money from taxpayers and use it to fund certain programs, like, for instance, the police? New York has one of the largest police departments in the world. They're like a standing army. And like California, they're overpaid. A lot of them do their job and they're desk jobs, and they're getting paid $100,000, $300,000. Some of them are, like I said, sitting behind a desk all day. They aren't out there on the beat. They aren't out there putting their lives on the line. Why do they deserve taxpayers' money? Do you think there needs to be some reduction in pay when it comes to law enforcement, or should taxpayers continue to pay for bad public services?
Actually, I disagree on that statement on the police. What I do agree up on, we got to streamline all types of things. I myself come from a family of law enforcement, judges. What I think is, if you are brave enough to put your life on the line to protect me, which I am no blood relative to you, you deserve the top pay as a city employee. I think police should have the top pay. The ones that goes out and put their lives on the line there to protect you, your children, should make more than the mayor. This is my opinion, because think about life. You protecting a person you don't even know. And you get up in the morning, you put that uniform on, you don't know whether you're going back home in that evening. You're taking a greater chance than I am. I'm going out working another job that is not that dangerous. So on the police side, we need to streamline pay at some point, at some position, you streamline that. But I have the utmost respect for law enforcement, because imagine without law enforcement, if we cut their salary, we're going to lose some good officers. And yes, we have a large police force in New York City, which we need, and we need to untie their hands so they can do their job. But in any, like in any business or anything else, you have got to put somebody that can do a check on all of it, make sure it's not out of hand. I don't have a problem. Like I said, I'm going to repeat it. Police should be the highest paid of city or government officials, because they put their lives on the line for strangers every single day.
Absolutely. I mean, but so do firefighters, and so do other job professionals.
Right.
And as
Right.
far as,
My
electricians that are going out there and repairing electric lines so we can all have power in our homes, they're scaling some towers that are hundreds of feet tall, and
right.
it's a
Hey,
dangerous job for them.
good for it.
Let me, yes, they do.
Right.
So let me ask you this: when it comes to the value, the public value, or value of a public service, just like you said, police officers deserve the top pay. Do you also think that apply or would apply to doctors or teachers? Other people that are providing a invaluable service to the public. And do you
Right. And
think
I agree with that.
taxpayers should pay for it?
Right. And I have one sister I have two sisters that are teacher. I have one that is a professor. And yes, they should get paid top dollar if they doing what they're supposed to do, not indoctrinating kids like what I see across the country now. They are merely indoctrinating kids. They pay, not only should they pay be zero, they shouldn't be allowed to work in the school system. So yes, if you're doing the right thing about our children, you deserve top pay, regardless of what field you're in. That's a doctor, teacher, whoever you are, you deserve that type of pay. And honest days pay for honest days work is something that we need to bring back because we don't have that anymore. These people are working hard for the little crumbs they're getting, regardless of what job you got. If you're working in McDonald's all day, being busy, working back and forth, you should get a great salary because you're putting up with the general public. It's not dangerous as a police officer, but you should get a good salary. As a businessman, my thing is honest days pay for honest days work. And that's how I do my business. That's how my wife do her business. And this is how we try to live our life. And this should apply to the city also. We need to bring term limits in because we don't want nobody there 20, 30, 40 years getting that type of money because it corrupts them. So we need term limits all across the board. And to answer your question, yes, all of them are important, but some jobs it's not as dangerous as our police officer job or
Yeah,
our
of
military
course,
that
without a
is
doubt.
going and fight.
We are getting limited on time, so I do want to kind of speed things up here because I do have a few questions. You said with regards to police officers, I was just asking you, what way do police protect us? I mean, because California, I would think New York has the same problem with California, is it more so ties the people's hands from being able to protect themselves. If I wanted to go and buy a gun, I got to jump through hoops. I got to get a license. I got to do all of this instead of me having a constitutional right to protect myself, the right to
Right,
bear arms,
right.
whether it be a gun, a knife, or whatever the case may be. I want to be able to protect myself, my wife, my son, my family without getting permission from the government to do so. Do you think that has also equal footing in the way that the people of New York are having difficulty with protecting themselves?
But it's not police officers that is doing that. Like once again, it's the state legislature that make these crazy upside down rules and unjust laws. For instance, in New York City, you can't carry a gun, but criminals have guns that you can't carry. So you can't protect yourself. You can't protect your family. If you do, they treat you like the perpetrator and not the victim. It's insane. It's upside down. So as governor, I will bring in constitutional carry, even in the city of New York. If the mail don't go along, the governor has the power to remove the mail. We need constitutional carry. It's afforded to us. It had not been amended. So why are we forcing people not to be able to carry to protect themselves after you tying the police hands? You got a crime-ridden city and you can't even protect your own self. It's nonsense. You shouldn't have to pay for $18 like in New York City if you're a business owner. $1,800 go through the year process almost to get a license to protect yourself
Right.
and your property. That's nonsense. That's nonsense.
And
Imagine if you allow violent citizens to openly carry, the crime rate would drop slim to none. That person is not going to rape that woman. You're not going to rob that store. You're not going to rob that individual walking down the sidewalk because you know it's a chance that you may lose your life. It's
yeah.
just common sense policies have got to be brought back all over America. And I know you're suffering that in California also, but we got to fight and just bring those things back.
Yeah, I would say also a common sense policy would be restricting these public officials' pay based on performance. We talked
Right.
about paying
What I
top.
get to when I was talking about that pay.
Yeah,
Right. I
absolutely.
love that. I take your word. They are performers. And
Absolutely. I
this is
mean,
why I say,
to me, it would apply to
right,
every public official, not only public
right,
representatives, but also
right,
to healthcare workers or to teachers or to police officers, because we want to pay them top dollar for doing their job. But if they're sitting around not doing anything, I mean, California has
right,
one of the worst educational systems in the entire country. And we pay a lot of money, taxpayers' money, towards our students. Yet again, a lot of them out of high school aren't even able to read at an 8th grade level. So there's an issue there with believing that taxpayers' money should be funding these public services versus the free market providing those services for us, and then cities or people making direct contributions to them directly. I do want to talk about another thing, because with you running as a Republican and being a black man, and me running as a Republican and being a black man, I'm sure you've encountered that we are expected to also fit into that box of Republicanism and toe the line with all of their talking points. You publicly came out to speak about how you support the Proud Boys. I have also. You said that you've met them in person. You don't see them to be violent. I have also, you know. But in expressing that, you get encountered by those people that see nothing but what they do on TV, and then they affiliate that with you and your position on it. How do you shatter that narrative and, you know, let them know where you really stand, which is on the side of freedom and liberty and justice for all?
Right. And I make that stand and I speak that. I don't care who labeled them white supremacist group or whatever they label them. For instance, Joe Rogan's. Oh, he said the N word. I say, yeah, I say it too. You know, things that goes on, it's stuff that happen. I still support Joe Rogan. I still watch his podcast because I know this is coming from the left to tear down anything good from the
I
right
see.
side, which
I'm glad you brought
was a
that
liberal.
up.
Right,
I'm
right.
glad you brought that up because that's actually a perfect example. I have a wholehearted problem with him saying that word. Now, this is why. Yes, it's been said before. I've said it before. I'm a rap artist. You know what I'm saying? I've said it in songs. But as a black man, I've come to the point where in my life, as a man that's 40, you know, with my wife and my child, it's not a word that I use comfortably in my vocabulary. If I speak it in context, you know, it has a certain context. But
Right, right.
he also made other comments that did promote that he has that sort of privileged white male mindset where he feels like he can say whatever the hell he wants without there being any repercussions. He made comments about going out to go see Planet of the Apes and in the neighborhood where there were no white people. And he said, we literally stepped into Planet of the Apes. So,
Right, right.
you know, all of these things come back. And again, with me being a black man, with me being a Republican and speaking out against this, now my conservative base, which are really neocons, you're fucking neocons, because they're fascists. They want me to bend the knee and, you know, have the same opinion as them. You're not allowed to have your own independent thought. You know, you have to,
Right.
and you have to pretty much side with them. And if you don't, you're automatically a leftist, you're a liberal, you're one of them, you're fake. You know, it has nothing to do with your values, your principles, or, you know, who you are as a person. So do you think that's a problem? Is that the people on the right and the people on the left are so locked in their mindset that they can't really see a clear view on how to achieve things in a unified manner?
Right. Now look at the hypocrites that take place on both
Yes,
sides.
Joe
Like we're
Rogan.
going back to the word that Rogan used. If you look at the tapes when Joe Biden used forever, why you not mad with him? And he the president.
I
Joe
got a
Rogan is just
problem
a
with that too, man. See, that's the
right.
thing. Why
Joe
can't it
Rogan
be
just
all
so
they
Joe Rogan
asses?
just so podcast. Why you so angry with him? Because you following the white liberal tactics to destroy anything on the right. So that's why
Right.
I ignore that. This man, best friend with a known KKK guy, Robert Byrd, and the words that he has used, the policies that he has stood behind, who's been totally detrimental to my community. You allowing these drugs to come here, and you allow it to get in our community, and we sell it. You get us both ways. You turn us into junkies, and then you get the seller, put them in jail for 20 or 30 years. This is something that Joe Biden did. They bring these drugs here, allow them to come in, then this is a way to get rid of the black person. This is what have been going on forever. I see straight through it, so I don't jump to get mad just because somebody said the N word on whatever side. I don't care. My feelings in my shoe. I know I'm not one. The N word is an action, not a color. It was related to us as black people because the action was so bad at some point, some of us, and they started calling you that. A white person can be the N word. Mexican, bro, anybody can be the N word. But
Absolutely.
people is
I
so
think Ted said
tied up
that
on
part.
that represent me. It don't represent me. I don't care nothing about that. And that's why these rappers use it all the time. That don't represent me. That represents an action, and that's that.
Well, I mean, but we all know the word has a history, you know what I mean? And we know that it can be a derogatory term that can be insulting to many. And for someone
Right.
who seems to be intelligent, which I guess he is, you would think that he would be conscious of the use of the word, even in context, you know? But again, there seems to be some ignorance with that. Um,
Right.
even you shared a video recently about Howard Stern. I've shared that same damn thing with Howard Stern saying it over and over and over in blackface
Right.
of all things. And then you, like you said, Joe Biden. So it's like when the narrative fits the right. Oh, and just recently, the mayor of New York calling white people crackers and shit like that. So,
Right.
but we
Right.
know the term cracker can also apply to a black person. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Right.
anyone,
Right.
and we have these words that have so much power, but it's the power that we give them. And when you take away the power, you also take away that person's ability to affect you. The reason why Joe Rogan is in a position to where he's using this word is because his base is one that feels like, oh, it's just the word, get over it. But then when
Right.
leftists like Howard Stern says it, like you said, or Joe Biden says it, or the mayor of New York says something similar to it, then it's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a problem for them to use it, but when their people use it, it's just a word. Why is there
Right.
such an allowance there? It's like everybody's an apologist.
It's hypocrisy, and I don't apologize for it. Like I said, call me a racist. I'm gonna be Mr. Racist. I'm gonna double down on you. You're not gonna use that to weaken me, to weaken my stance, to bring me around to your thinking. I'm not gonna do that. I'm straightforward. I'm straight on, and I'm not gonna cower down to nobody. Call me what you want to call me. I'll wear a shirt saying Mr. Racist. I'll wear a Proud Boy shirt. I don't care nothing about somebody labeled something. I know that. I know for myself because I have walked there. I have sat there and I have talked to him. I have ate with him. And I know better. So I know the narrative, just like January the 6th was not an insurrection. The insurrection happened last summer, Black Lives Matter. And look what they're doing about that, nothing. But all of a sudden you're holding a commission, people protesting a failed government, which they have the right to do. And you want to make it look like an insurrection. How many people charged with insurrection? Zero. You arresting white people, trying to make it look like a white supremacist was going against white people, Nancy Pelosi and Vice President Pence. Both of them are white, mind you. So look at the narrative, see what's going on, and they're just trying to push an issue over that makes absolutely no sense. And it's going to be exposed, and all the wickedness and the darkness is going to be exposed. And I'm helping exposing that because I don't like for it to happen neither side, black, white, or whoever it is, that justice should apply the same for all.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sad that we are kind of being pitted against each other by the mainstream media, the corporate media machine, because they aren't really telling it on all sides, you know, and they aren't really approaching it, discussing the issue in a way that where we can kind of clear the air, so to speak, on things and come to again a resolution where we can all be happy and live with. But I do want to wrap things up because I did tell you I didn't want to hold you longer than an hour. So I just wanted to give you the floor and let you speak to the people out there. Tell them more about where they can find more about you. I've been dropping your website the entire time, which is Gibson, the number 4governor.com. But if you can just one last time speak to the people that are watching, the possible voters out there in New York, to let them know why they should vote Gibson for governor.
Right, and I'm glad to be here today, and I'm thankful for the people looking on. Make sure you share this video, share it on YouTube, get it out there. If you have people in New York State, let them know I'm here, that I'm fighting for them, regardless of what side they are on. And like I said, my website is Gibson, the number 4governor.com. Go on now. I'm a grassroots candidate, and donate your $5 and $10. I'm getting the bus to bring it out on the road, the bus and the RV. And no, I'm not establishment. I am too much for both sides of the Democrats or the Republicans. I tell the truth. Far as I said, the Republican Party is just a game. The Democratic Party is a game, and it's doing the people no good. So I'm here for the people. I'm here to bring the people voice back, not big corporation voices. I will govern for the people. That is why I'm here. If the truth hurt you, too bad. You may want to turn me off. You may not want to look at videos. You might not want to share them because the truth hurts you. But this is something that's got to be done. We got to open the people's mind up in our own community and the other people's community likewise. So I concentrate on the Black community and open our eyes up and let them see both sides are playing, of Democrats and Republicans. Yes, I'm a Republican. I'm an independent Republican. That's what I am. And I stand for truth, America, traditional values. That is me.
All right. Well, we appreciate you for standing up for truth and justice and liberty, because that's what we all can agree on, you know, despite what your skin color may be, despite what your ethnicity may be, despite whether you're an American citizen or not. If you're here in our country, you value those principles. And I think that's what we need to be appreciating the most about everyone that's here in this country. So, Derrick Gibson, I do appreciate you for being here. I feel like we could just talk for forever, man.
I could.
I
could too, but I had flight, and the flight threw me off. I'll be glad to come back on. We have a better show. I'll be ready. I just got my travels delayed me. So the next time I'll be on point, I'll be on time, and we can have a more broader discussion on a lot of more topics than we had tonight.
I look forward to that. Thank you again, man. I appreciate you for being here, and best of luck to you on the campaign. I'll certainly be in touch with you. All right.
Have a blessed night, and I would love to come out and campaign for you also. Just let me know, okay?
All right. Good to know. God bless you, brother, and take care. Long live liberty. All right, you guys, that again is Derrick Gibson, candidate who is running for governor of New York. So please be sure to check him out. Gibson, the number 4 governor.com. You can see it right there at the bottom of your screen. Find out more about him. Yes, he's a controversial figure, but that's what politics is. It's just controversy 24/7. I myself am considered a controversial figure, so I'm used to the static and the clout that comes along with. And it sounds like my man Derrick Gibson has a thick skin enough to deal with it. So if you want to find out more about him or support his campaign, again, head on over to gibson4governor.com. Connect with him on social media, ask him more questions if you have some. And yes, Shane, we definitely should bring him on the Nick and Shay show sometime soon. I got my man Shane Driscoll here dropping questions and comments. Hard Body Training in the house, Tyrone Jackson, TJ, all of you guys. I kill a real nigga. Thank you for dropping in, brother. All of you people out there for watching. I appreciate you for joining into today's chat. I got to get the marbles out of my mouth anyways. I appreciate you for joining into today's show. Do as Derrick said, share this video on your social media. Please be sure to tag yours truly at Governor Wildstar on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. Definitely share this video, drop comments, all that good stuff. And if you want to support as well, since we definitely could use all the support we can get when it comes to grassroots activism, check out taxationistheft.info, taxationistheft.info, where you can find all of your taxation is theft swag, gear, hats, flags, all sorts of shit. Check it out right there. And if you use my code GOWILD2022, you would be helping me make a little money so I can fund my political activism. So head on over to taxationistheft.info, make a purchase of any of these products. I got this stamp. People love the taxation is theft stamp. I stamp every dollar bill with this stamp. Okay. See it right there. Do this. Get this stamp. It's only $15, but if you use my code GOWILD2022, you can get an additional percentage off that purchase. So please be sure to head on over to taxationistheft.info and buy something, okay? And use my code. Also, head on over to nugofknowledge.com. If you are a CBD smoker or user, whatever the case may be, consumer, for all of your CBD products, please head on over to nugofknowledge.com. What you will be doing by purchasing any of these products, okay, is help those candidates and those laws out there that are wanting to make sure that we are not being criminalized for our use of cannabis, our consumption of cannabis, which we shouldn't. We're grown ass adults. We should be able to make up our own mind. Government shouldn't be involved on choosing what we put into our own bodies. So if you would like to help get rid of those laws that prevent that and help get elected candidates that support that, help me by purchasing some CBD products from nugofknowledge.com and use my code WILDSTAR to get an additional percentage off your purchases as well. There's a whole breakdown of what the organization does and the cause, the mission behind the Nug of Knowledge business. So please check it out. Definitely. And if you want to make a direct contribution to me, head on over to my website, wildstar2022.com. Make a donation. If you want to join Team Wildstar, fill out this pledge card. If you want to help door-to-door, phone banking, social media outreach, all that good stuff. The time is winding down. The window of opportunity is closing here. So we need you out there to act now. Don't wait until all of the rich candidates fall out of the sky, come, closer towards the election date. Help the grassroots candidates out there like myself by pitching in. Like Derrick said, $5, $10, $20, however many dollars, every bit of dollars helps. So head on over to wildstar2022.com and give whatever you can. And of course, you can connect with me on social media right here. Okay, so click on any of those as well. Yeah, TJ says the people's champ, Governor Wildstar. You're damn right. Thank you very much, TJ. And we definitely go smoke one soon. Hey, head over to nugofknowledge.com and buy some CBD products. My man, he already got plenty. So we got to connect and definitely burn one. Speaking of which, if you want to make a contribution and you don't want to go through these channels here through the website, you can also send me something through Cash App using $sign Governor Wildstar on Cash App. Okay. And of course, if you're out there watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps with that algorithm. So more people can see my videos wherever they are. So subscribe so you can get updates on upcoming videos. I am planning more Black Side of Liberty interviews throughout Black History Month. So stay tuned to see when those are going to be and who's going to be on the show next. So check it out by subscribing to my Governor Wildstar channel on YouTube. Click like, comment, and definitely share. Okay, sharing is caring. All right. So I'm going to get out of here, you guys. I appreciate you for being here. And until next time, long live liberty. Peace. Hold on.